How's everyone doing? This is Joe with Ohio Woodburner. Guys, this is Paul Bunyan weekend. This is Saturday evening, and I just left from there. And what a big hustle and bustle and buzzing and tools and machines it is. It's like a Firewooder's Disneyland. But I have a reputation of doing things different. And my Paul Bunyan episode for Ohio Woodburner is going to be different. I'm not there right now. I left and I came to a very special place just right up the road from the Guernsey County Fairgrounds. Guys, I am in New Rumley, Ohio, and this is the birth site of one of my favorite historical figures, General Custer, General George Armstrong Custer. And I believe that where I'm standing is they redid the foundation of the house that he was born in and grew up in. And it has one of the original stones from it here as well. I was at the Japa tent, and a number of people were there. We had a really nice time, a real big turnout, and I got to meet a lot of neat people. I had a visit from a very nice couple, and we were both talking about our previous lives in the corporate world and how, if I was being honest, 2 of the last 3 companies I worked for, I don't know if I actually fit in. I was successful. I did a good job. But I had always felt like I was a round peg and the company was a square hole. It wasn't like all the talents that I felt that I could bring to the table were appreciated there. Does that make sense? And also where I didn't fit in. There seemed to be you were not rewarded for taking a chance, taking a risk. You were rewarded really to not do anything. Crimes of commission versus crimes of omission. We get conditioned over time to don't take that chance, to don't take that risk. And it got me thinking about General Custer, who's right up the road from the Guernsey County Fairgrounds. Guys, I am in New Rumley, Ohio, and this is a very beautiful part of the world. And this is the birthplace of General Custer. And they've built this memorial to him. Let me show you here the big guy. They got this nice statue of him. And guys, what a dynamic leader. Okay, spoiler alert. He had a bad experience at Little Bighorn, and he's regarded as a famous or an infamous general. But there are certain things about his personality that are just undeniable. He was confident, he was aggressive, he wasn't reckless, but he planned and he executed his plan. And talk about the risk taker. And what made Custer special, guys, is he led his troops, but he led from the front. You know that one of my favorite quotes from a Pink Floyd song is, "Forward he cried from the rear." That was not Custer. This guy led from the front. When he said charge, guys, he was in the front of the charge. His troops were following him. And I mean, that's like Alexander the Great kind of stuff. That's occasionally Napoleon kind of stuff. Custer led from the front. He was aggressive. He took action. When he saw an opportunity, he went for it. He had 11 horses shot out from underneath him during the Civil War because he was out front. He wasn't in the back, telling people what to do. And his troops followed him. He had such an aura about him. They came up with a word that described Custer, and it was called Custer's luck. Guys, he took chances, but he took action, and he planned, and he went for it. And it just seemed like things worked out for him. And that's what luck was to Custer. You make your own luck, You don't sit around and just wait for something to happen to you. He went out and made it happen for himself. So that's what was on my mind with my trip to the Paul Bunyan show. There's just so many people that were there. I met so many nice people, so many people that appreciate the channel. And I got to the point where I just didn't want to just walk around and show everything that, the cool machines. I wanted to do it a little bit differently. And I just wanted to come up here to a very quiet part of the world, guys. This is gorgeous up here. And Custer really grew up in a very quiet part of the world. You know, he came from a modest background. You know, he wasn't wealthy, but he went to West Point, and guys, he graduated dead last in his class. He also has the distinction, I'm pretty sure this is right, he had the highest number of demerits in the history of West Point. He had like 726 demerits, and that was just in 4 years. Because I think it's like a 6-year stay, but he was only there 4 years because they graduated him quick because the Civil War had started. So, you know, he was an intelligent person, though. You know, he didn't graduate dead last because he was a dummy. It was like he just had this sense about him where he knew what he could and could not get away with. And you see that if you read about him and his history. Where he really first got noticed was he was like a junior officer, and he was trotting behind all the generals. And the generals all came up to this river because they were trying to develop a plan on how to get their troops across it. One of the generals thought out loud, I wonder how deep that river is. Custer on his horse just ran right out into the middle of the river, turned around and said to the generals, it's this deep. You know, he took action where others were on the bank pondering, trying to develop a plan and try to figure something out. Custer just did it. I think about too, you know, Ohio wood burner wasn't my first idea. I had a whole bunch of them, and I'm sure that you have too. But the difference this time for me was I got away from the planning. I mean, I developed my plan, but it didn't end there. I took action and I did it. And was it the perfect plan? No. Did I screw a bunch of stuff up? Yes, I screwed a lot up. But I didn't stop. You know, I just kept going and going. And the same thing can go for you. The big refrain that I get from people that I talk to is, you know, I got this great idea and I'm going to do it one of these days, but I just want to plan it and make sure everything's correct. The difference between me and the way I was before was I took action. I went for it. But talk about Custer, guys. George Armstrong Custer, born here in Ohio, and became one of the great generals of all time. You know, he had a number of nicknames. He was known as the Boy General because he was a general at 23. He was one of the youngest generals in the U.S. Army. He was also known as Golden Hair. The Indians called him that. He was very proud of his long locks. You know, us people from Ohio are very proud of our hair. His troops, they called him Iron Butt. He was famous for being one of the greatest horsemen in the military. That was the one thing that he was always good at, and it certainly showed in his professional endeavors. But then, you know, you get to the Battle of Little Bighorn and things didn't work out so hot there. But, you know, you could split hairs. The two other captains, there was Captain Reno and Captain Benteen. You know, there's debate on were they really where they were supposed to be, and kind of left Custer hung out to dry. But that was one of his, I'm pretty sure it's a joke, but as one of his famous last quotes was, you know, wow, that's a lot of Indians. So things didn't work out too hot for him there. And he's buried at West Point National Cemetery because, well, that sun's getting low in the sky here, guys. Because of him, because of his attitude, because of his aggressiveness and his willingness to go after an objective, he found himself in the biggest theaters of the Civil War. From the very beginning, he was at Bull Run. He saved the Union Army. He saved the Union at Gettysburg because he was the one that cut off Lee's trying to surround the Union. He was the one that cut that off. He was in the Peninsula Campaign, Shenandoah. He was with Sherman's March, and he was the first general. He was the first person to accept the flag of surrender from the Confederates. He was at the Appomattox Courthouse for the surrender. The generals gave Custer the table that the surrender took place on. That's how important of a person he was. And it was because of the way he handled himself. You know, he was not fearful of the crime of commission. You know, there's all kinds of books out there, self-help books and stuff. And then, you know, reading biographies of famous people, and people like to focus on generals because of the leadership capabilities that they had. And everyone has something that they can bring to the table. But for me, you know, here we go. It's this guy right here. I think he's probably tops in my book. Maybe if there's anyone above him, it's Hamilton, because he was the exact same type of person. He was self-made, and nothing was given to him. He went out and got it for himself. He made his own brakes, right? Custer luck. This guy right here. So that is, you know, in a way, because I actually finally took steps to start Ohio Wood Burner and to start this business and to keep it going. You know, I would hit bad spots, adversity, and I would adjust, repair, fix, and go forward and just keep going. It's like Custer luck. I can sense that now. You know, if you do get hit with that adversity, you just don't quit and then go back, you know, working for the company that's the square hole. That's where I think that, you know, there's something to learn here by this guy. And that is what I think, what Custer means to me. And that was what was going through my head today at the Paul Bunyan show. I was just humbled by the people that were there. I had a blast. I met a lot of familiar faces, but I also met a lot of new people that, you know, really expressed interest in Firewood, interest in the channel, and it just makes me want to be even better at what I do. So I thought I could kill two birds with one stone here. I thought I could bring you to a very special place here in a very special state here at Harrison County in New Rumley, Ohio, the birthplace of this guy, Dynamite, huh? Makes me proud to be from Ohio, and it makes me proud to be your friend and bring you videos about firewood. Like I said, I'm a different kind of a person here. What does Civil War generals have to do with firewood? Well, I guess I'm the round peg, huh? All right, guys. So that's it from atop the hill here in New Rumley, Ohio, here at the Custer Monument. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll put a link below on this location and their website. All right, guys, I hope everyone has a great day.